Now, here at ABC Radio Canberra, we've had reports of obviously a lot of businesses not doing well over this period, but one of the businesses that are perhaps doing a little bit better than others are ones where I guess people are going back to doing things around the house a bit more. I guess it's the home stuff. And one of those things is when it comes to sewing or knitting or using sewing machines or needles, fabric. We've had reports of the sales of sewing machines to first-time operators booming in the ACT, and that's along with the sales of elastic and fabric to make, I'm sure you would imagine, would be protective masks, practical protective masks. Now, that's obviously to prevent the spread of COVID. I should say at this point, though, that the advice is that that should never replace all the other measures that are put in place. But it seems that many Canberrans seem to be getting in ahead of if we one day need to do the mandatory like, say, Melbourne has done, or perhaps they're doing them because of health concerns. Whatever the reasons, people are going and buying sewing machines and fabric, and I wonder if that's you. 1300 681 666 or 0467 922 666. I'm joined now by Nigel Grant. She's the manager of Hobby Sew in Belconnen. Good morning.
Hi, Georgia. How are you today?
Good. How busy have you been?
We have been super busy and we're very grateful for it because, as you just mentioned, so many people have not done so well through these really difficult times, but we've been very busy.
So does that mean you have managed to keep on all your staff and even perhaps hire more staff?
So we haven't brought on new staff. We have actually reduced our hours a little bit, and we've had a couple of staff who have sort of, I guess, given shifts to other people who might have been finding these times a little bit difficult.
Oh.
But no, we haven't had, it's been really lovely, a lovely sense of community, but we haven't had to put anybody off. It's just a difficult time to hire because we're trying to maintain distancing, of course, in the store. So trying to help people, train people up is not appropriate for us at the moment. But all of our staff are still working, which is so wonderful.
Now, what have you found is the hot ticket item or the thing you can't keep up with demand-wise?
One word, elastic.
Elastic? Is this because people have got to let out their pants for COVID, do you think?
So this is to help people make their masks.
Wow. And are people actually coming in and saying, I'm making masks? Like, what are you hearing from people?
Absolutely. So, and that's increased a lot over the last week. Lots and lots of our wonderful customers and people who we've not seen before in the store are coming in to buy supplies to make masks to send to family and friends in Melbourne, where it's come in the mandatory mask wearing. And then people, of course, wanting things for themselves or for an elderly neighbour or somebody else who's vulnerable.
And so I guess you tread a fine line, don't you? Because you're not medical staff and you can't give people advice. So do they ask for advice on how to make them or do they just want the materials?
They do ask for advice, and strangely enough, we have spoken about this in the workplace that we're not medical experts and we just constantly referring people back to government websites or things like that in terms of what's the best materials or what different people are advising. And from what we found, there's lots of different advice out there in terms of the materials that are appropriate to use. I think it comes down to a lot of people saying something's better than nothing, but we certainly give people a little bit of help to help them choose what they need. But as you said, thank you so much, Georgia. We're not medical experts.
And fabric-wise, I'm just intrigued. Are people just going for the plain or is there some crazy fabrics we're going to see on people sporting in the next few weeks?
Oh, wow, across the board. So we've got people who are after the very conservative, but we also have a huge novelty fabric section. So we've got people who are buying fabrics with little ninjas on it or unicorns or wine bottles, all sorts of things. There's things with hammers and nails and flowers, and there should be some really merry things coming out at the moment. Some of the most popular things have been fabrics that have sort of dots with spikes coming off them, which look kind of like little cartoon viruses, has been super popular as well.
Wow, wearing a virus to protect yourself from a virus. There's a slight degree of irony in that. So in terms of other things, besides people coming in for face masks, have you noticed it just increase in people, say, buying sewing machines or just wanting to get back into doing some of those skills?
Absolutely. Huge increase in people. With the stay-at-home advice that we got back in March, at that time everybody had to, one, stay at home, so they thought, well, what am I going to do? So many people have turned to craft, first-time crafters. We had a wonderful gentleman in maybe a month and a half ago who was, let me guess, maybe in his 60s or 70s, who decided he wanted to learn to crochet. That's amazing. So he, purchased books on how to crochet and yarn and crochet hook, and off he went with grand plans. And it just was really wonderful. So we've had lots and lots of people who have come in to learn a new craft, and that's across the board, all sorts of crafts.
I love we've got Claire just called in. I couldn't stay on the line, but she called in to say, those of us who are lifelong sewers say it's not a hobby, it's a post-apocalyptic, apocalyptic skill set. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Look at all the things that we now can't get or what we need is masks. So everybody's doing, getting on and making masks. So I agree. Any kind of crafting is a wonderful set of life skills. Making beads, making scarves, all of those things that you can actually do yourself. And there's a huge amount of value coming back in for people who have made something by hand, and that notion of, I guess, the love and the time and all of that sort of stuff. And because we're staying at home a bit more, we've got a little bit more time on our hands. So people are really enjoying that opportunity, and it's so good for the soul to actually produce something that you've done yourself.
I was a very reluctant crafter when I was homeschooling, 3 children at home. They love craft. I wasn't so sure, but all the grandparents kept on sending these things because they couldn't see the kids. Anyway, I'm now there is a therapeutic part to it. I get it.
Yeah, there is, absolutely.
Cooking used to be my therapy, but I might be able to moonlight a little bit in the crafting area. It's been a pleasure chatting to you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Georgia. Bye.
Bye. That's Michelle Grant. She's the manager of Hobby Sew there in Belconnen. And, yes, lots of people for the first time. I love the story of that older gentleman coming in, deciding to get his craft on. See, you're never too old to do a little bit of craft.